Santa Maria de Estrada, and it is my sincere pleasure to have once again my amazing friend Daniel Brooks, who is also a poet.
Yeah, I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana, which is right in the center there in the state. I am a teacher, a special education teacher, and I am also a poet and writer. So
Yeah,
I've been writing for probably consistently for about 3 or 4 years now.
nice, nice. Yeah, I
Mhm.
was just talking about my own growth as a writer because I started publishing 2 years ago, independently publishing. But it's a learning curve, regardless of whether you do traditional or non-traditional publishing. And that's one of the reasons why I'm launching a couple of my books again with fresh covers because I finally found an amazing cover designer named Angela Vucic. I know I'm butchering your name, and a fantastic editor, Aditya Deshmukh. But I did want to tell my viewers, so you're tuning into Radical Books and Politics. And so originally what I had thought was to give away a free book every 100 subscribers, but it takes a while to get subscribers. Right now I'm at 36. So at 50, I'm going to give away a book, a Kindle book. And it doesn't matter if you're national or international. Amazon is great about some things, but it's proprietary depending on where you're from. And so it's difficult to give away books to say somebody in England or somebody in India. So it won't matter where you're from, and I'll see who commented, so I can put you in a drawing and give away a book. So what I was thinking was of writing an original novelette, either of Nail Shop Warriors, but I have to check in with my co-author Hector Cruz to see if that's okay because we just started the series. Or I was thinking of writing just a short like episode, if you will, of La Bruja in the Orchard that follows from Mona's return. So I think either of those two will probably be exciting for a subscriber with a really nice fresh cover, professionally edited. So you would enjoy that. So Daniel, do you have a poem to share with us?
Yeah, actually, I was gonna recite one that just was recently accepted, but I saw one that I wrote maybe a month or so ago, and it's untitled, but it's about moving, like constantly moving, um, and yeah. So you want me to recite it right now?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So when I moved into another apartment, I was met with the question I've been asked a dozen times in my life. Why do you move so much?
Mm-hmm.
I never had an answer I was comfortable sharing because anyone that asked proved unworthy of an explanation. Even so, the answer eluded me, varying over time. We were short on rent, the utilities cut off one too many times, or a better place awaited us. It became clear as the Caribbean Sea when I asked my grandmother about her upbringing. She was born and raised in the flesh gouging thorns of Jim Crow, Arkansas, then
Mm-hmm.
Mississippi, before settling in Chicago. She said her father moved them from place to place whenever white folks got to talking about this or that, who was too big for their britches, breathing in the wrong direction, walking on the wrong side, in the wrong ski.
That's lovely.
Yeah,
Your poetry, I'm telling you, your poetry is getting better and better. I mean, it was already great,
right.
but I mean, this one, and just thinking about the last time you read, they're beautiful. You
Yeah.
know, it's got good rhythm and imagery. And there was one line, like something like you have to be careful where you breathe, because it may seem so innocuous, I guess, but during Jim Crow, you couldn't look at somebody even the wrong way, or you could get lynched. And that line, I think, is really beautiful. You
Hmm.
know, um,
Thank you.
yeah, yeah, no, your poems are amazing. So I don't know if I told you about this. This is from a collection. It's not a collection. It's an anthology called One Surviving Poem,
Mm.
and it is by, you know what it is. I read this in one of my episodes. That's why I thought I read it for you. It's edited by Hart Firkin. It's from In Case of Emergency Press, and it says 42 poets select the poem they most want to survive. And so the call for submissions was really like awesome but difficult at the same time. So essentially, I contextualized like if the world were to end or if there was some catastrophe, what poem would I take with me? And it took me 2 months to pick a piece. Right, it took a long time,
That's
and I
tough.
picked, I know, right? I picked one that I could continue to write on the sand in case there were no pencils. Is that weird? You know. And then the other thing was, um, they had a call for fiction, and I couldn't do it for fiction. But next year, in case of emergency press, I'm gonna be ready for you. I recommend it. And these guys were hilarious. I've told the story before, but they're from Australia, and the book is published in Australia, so you can't do it on Amazon, and they're really great guys. So they sent me an email, and they sent me the proof of the layout of the poem, and the side margins. I'm assuming it was Howard. Howard had written, "I know we're lowly gringos, but please send us your bio." It was, and I did, and they did a beautiful job. So, and of course, you think I would have marked it. I actually want to read through this whole collection once I'm done turning in my final grades, so I can. It's not a collection, an anthology. I'm sorry. Let me clarify. A collection is when it's works by the same writer. So you can have a collection of poetry or a collection of short stories. This is an anthology, and I'm sorry I intermixed the two. I'm an English professor. I should know better. Daniel also knows I should know better. So readers, if you're like, wow, why does it matter? It does make a difference. So this is an anthology, and I think I'm towards the end. But let me see. So the piece I picked was called Jesucristo Santificanos, Jesus Christ Sanctifies. I haven't read this to you, right?
I think I've read it, though.
Okay. So really this is one of the first, actually, this is the first poem I wrote in college in my creative writing class. And so what happened was that I was about 5 years old, and the school district where I lived in, it was heavily Mexican American, but they didn't have the right pedagogy to teach bilingual kids. And if you spoke Spanish, you were punished. And top it off, I had a nervous breakdown too shortly after that. It was really difficult. And people may remember things differently, but I remember they would paddle you if you spoke Spanish, and so you just had to be very careful. And I came home one day, and I was really upset, and I couldn't talk to my parents because my parents at the time held educators as omnipotent people, and I couldn't explain. First, I was 5. I couldn't explain what was going on. You know what I mean? So it was really difficult. But I came home, and in our living room was this like beautiful portrait of Jesus, and he looked very Anglo with blue eyes and glowing. And I remember I cussed him out. And for years later, I thought I was gonna go to hell. Like since then, he and I have made friends. I believe Jesus came to revolutionize the world. But yeah. So this is called Jesucristo Santificanos, and they did such a beautiful job with the layout. Did a really good job. So I can hear the eternal mumbling of El Rosario in the other room. I am alone in the living room with dirty blue walls. More alone than my first day of school, where I sat in the aisles looking at a woman I didn't understand because she was a gringa and I'm a wetback child. I hated her and her sick-colored skin. I hated all the kids who didn't know what I was saying. I hated how they stood up, looked at the cloth with bright red and blue, put their hands over their hearts. They mumbled on and on, like my abuelita when she runs the words together from El Rosario. The gringa's eyes were full and new, not like your eyes that are dying colors. And you didn't help me. Now you're looking at me with those blue eyes like all those dumb kids who didn't know when I said hello. You know everything and they didn't know nothing. No me mires con esos pinches ojos. Because you're looking at me like I'm no good. Because you know my dad's a mojado. And I can't mumble the way they do when they stand so tall to pray. So that was it. And they picked it. I was like,
I can see why. It's a very powerful.
You think so? I don't hate white people, but I hate systematic racism. You know what I'm saying? And there's a difference to me.
I hate white supremacy. I do hate that.
Right? People, but I hate neo-Nazis.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, yeah, it's been, I mean, I'm in 40, it's been difficult for me to differentiate systemic racism from individuals. And it took me a while to come to terms with, because the teachers weren't white. They were Chicanas, but they treated us badly. And I remember even years later when I was getting my undergrad, it was the early 90s. And I was tutoring these kids of undocumented people. And the woman who was getting her degree in education, she was telling me, no, you can't speak to them in Spanish, only English. And I was like, why? You know what I mean? It didn't make it. They were still teaching them that, and I'm like, that is so messed up. Whether you want to be racist or not, it's hurtful because it invalidates the kids. And at the same time, they're like, oh, you're smart if you speak multiple languages. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But what do they teach now? You're an educator. Well, what's their approach to bilingual education where you're getting your degree?
Well, I mean, in terms of ELL or ESL, it's they're still very behind and still extremely under they don't have the resources. Some schools just don't have the support and don't have the resources to really meet kids where they're at. In terms of their needs. And because
would a teacher be upset if a child spoke a foreign language or a quote unquote foreign language or their mother tongue or their world language? Would they allow that, or would they punish them?
They would allow that. Now they try to, even sometimes it's a suggested strategy to even give kids books in their home language that right. It somehow helps to furnish that process of learning English, Right. So they encourage it much more now. But it's just like I said, the resources in a lot of these inner city schools, a lot of these schools where Black and brown children are at, where it's predominantly Black and brown children. In fact, schools are just as segregated, if not more so, than 40, 50 years ago now. So
same thing in Chicago. Everybody talks about it, and it's a case,
Yeah, I mean, I've been in schools, like I've been in a few charters where it was a majority of Black and brown children, and you could count on one hand maybe how many, white children were in the schools.
Right. No, that makes sense.
Yeah, the schools are still extremely segregated along class and racial lines.
Yeah, no, that I totally believe it. In fact, recently I think I told you my daughter goes to National Teachers Academy, and it's not just the systemic racism. Now you got to fight the developers. And so she's attending a tier 1 school, and the mayor, Rahm Emanuel, who was corporate scumbag, he wanted to close the school down so people could develop. And they closed the projects. They tore down the projects around the school. But this was a tier 1 school. And they fought. The community got together. There was a professor from UIC that got involved. I believe he was a law professor. And they won. They were able to keep that school open. But, we still have to stay united because I'm sure the city's going to gun for them again because it's on prime real estate right off of Chinatown. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to tell you what, it is one of the most unified communities I've ever been in. And they're political, man. They're militant. I've been to their equity meetings. I've been to their, I can't remember the teacher association meetings. And they talk about racism. They talk about class issues. Mm-hmm. And, the union was recently on strike. It was such a unified picket line. It was fun to be there. That's how it should be, this class solidarity.
That's right.
But we're going to be there in the struggle with them. I'm trying to get my son in there. Because besides being class and racially segregated, it is so difficult to get into a good school, and that shouldn't even be a question. All the schools should be good, and equally funded, and they're not.
I personally think that an adequate education is a human right. I personally.
Oh, absolutely. I do too. From pre-K all the way up to college.
Yeah, you're entitled to an adequate education.
Absolutely. Hi, Simona. You want to say hi to Daniel? Hi, Daniel. Yeah, I don't think he can see you, love. You're going to have somebody hop up?
Hi, Dave.
That's okay. You can be in the show for a little bit. Hey, so do you want to see my... Oh, wait. I just want to say one more thing. In Illinois, the state universities used to be free. And you had to pay. Even in the city colleges, I believe up to the 70s, the education was free. And there are currently 13 states that offer some kind of free higher education, whether it's community college or university. Why? It's like the boats float up kind of situation. Do you want a population that's able to get a good job? Do you want a highly educated population? Of course you do. That's how you promote real democracy, So let me show you this amazing gift. I had already reviewed this book by Adrian J. Walker. If you haven't read it, I really recommend it. I reviewed it in one of my other episodes. But this came in the mail, and it is called The End of the World Survivors Club. But what was the rude treat is that I opened it, and I fake passed out earlier, but check this out. What? He signed it. So awesome. I know, right? And he's got cute. Wait, this is the really cute part. And I'm like, yeah, this guy's fun. And I started tweeting at him, and he was just really grateful that I had reviewed his book. See that? Oh, and also it's going to be part of the book club that I run with my colleague Elisa. And we're currently finishing the Testaments. I think we're going to be done in December. But then we're going to start with the End of the World running club, which, he's a really great writer. If you like post-apocalyptic lit, he's not as well known here in the States because he's from England. But it's interesting. His publishing house, I believe, is in Niles, the Source Books Press. And Source Books does a really great job with Audible books. One of the best. Because, I listen to Audible books all the time. Brilliantly done. So that was my gift. And I was like, oh, he signed it. Ah. And then I was gonna do a react, and not everything needs to be videotaped, but I wanted to do a reaction video. And my daughter was like, "Mommy, you got a book on, when you were at work." And I was like, she opened it. Yeah. I was just gonna mention real quick that I am launching a second edition Wolf Trek. I think I mentioned that I'm getting it together with the covers, so that'll be out before Christmas. And I'm planning on doing a giveaway for Christmas. It's probably going to be of La Bruja in the Orchard with a new cover, but just for a day. So hopefully you'll get a copy. If you want a hard copy, let me know. I'll buy you one.
Nice.
But,
yeah.
What else are you working on? Just to tell people, might we be doing a chapbook soon?
Yeah, I'm like rethinking my first, because I have my first collection that I'm still working on, but with the recent ones that have been accepted by the Hawaii Review, I'm adding those poems in, and now I'm just like remapping it because I'm getting close to having the amount of poems where I can legitimately pitch my manuscript now to publishers, So I'm kind of rethinking that.
Do you have a theme you're working with yet?
It's called Moderation is Your Friend. So, just moderation in general. So it's gonna be about, it's gonna be about excess in terms of addiction, in terms of loss, in terms of grief, in terms of, in terms of like the issues of the world, social issues and inequality and all these things. So, and moderation is your friend was one of the last pieces of advice I was given to by my mother. So.
Did your mother pass away?
Yeah. 9 years ago. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I don't think I knew that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually really, really sage advice.
Because the irony of it is that after it was given to me, I did the opposite. But now that I'm like a little bit older now and, have chilled out, that I'm able to appreciate that advice and actually use it. So.
Yeah, I think it happens to the best of us. My word.
Yeah.
I hadn't spent so much money when I went to college. Speaking of, being part of an economic system.
Yeah, seriously.
I had one more thing and it slipped my mind. Oh, I know. Okay. So moderation is your friend may be pretty damn smart because, the issue of moderation comes up quite a bit. And even though it may latch itself on to self-help books, people will probably buy it, Yeah. They should buy it anyway, just because the content in poetry is so damn good. But it'll be interesting to take that book on the road. And, you always have a home here if you want to read at the college where I work at.
Yeah, for sure. And then, of course, so the chap I'm also trying to put together as well. I'm replacing poems and whatnot. It'll probably be about 20 pages. And then I have the novel that I'm working on. I'm only about a fourth of a way through, but I'm just, chopping away. Got some more research.
I think the book is going to be brilliant. And the content, the content is now,
Yeah.
I think people are looking for answers, and any little way that we can rehumanize the world, I think is important. Viewers, if you can, please pray for Jay Mehta and his wife and his daughter Preeti. He had another stroke on Friday, and he seems to be getting better, but as far as I know, he's still unconscious. And those of you who've been watching my channel know that Wolf Trek, the profits are going to go for his family for the year because they were already heavily in debt from the previous hospital bills. And unfortunately, he had another stroke. And so I'm I try not to let it bring me down too much because I am a woman of faith, even though I curse like a slut. I cuss a lot, all right? But I do think that he's going to get better. And his wife keeps saying that he's very stubborn. And it was sheer stubbornness that made him pull through last time. So Jay, so your stubbornness helps you pull through because I'm really hopeful to see your beautiful face. We were supposed to test Skype this weekend, but obviously we're not now. So keep him in your prayers. If you don't pray, send good vibes his way, think of him in a way that's going to uplift him. So I don't want to end on a down note, but I do think that there's something beautiful about sending positive energy to someone, So I have other friends who are also praying for him and thinking happy thoughts his way. So that's all I have. I don't know if you want to add any parting words.
No, not at all. Just for most of the people out there, just keep writing, keep reading, and don't let work and all these different things and your mission to obtain things take you away from your creative prowess.
Oh man, that's legit awesome. That sounds like my closer. So my closer, well, actually, that's pretty amazing, Daniel. Hey, and thank you again. I know. I love our check-ins. We gotta keep this up, but
Sure.
Daniel's going to be my featured guest, whether he wants to or not. Just kidding. He always has really great poems that he has, and so just amazing things to talk about. I really love our political talks. So I always close out with, we're on the same wavelength. Do what you love, read as many books as you can, and write on.
Right on.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for a chance to win a free book.